Hi everyone, this is Philip from Shibuya, and like many of you, I'm working from home right now. I know it's easy to get a little stir crazy being home the entire day, and especially if you don't have the opportunity to practice archery outside or even inside if you don't have a target in your home. But I thought I'd give you some ideas on how to pass the extra time and maybe get your gear up and running for the upcoming indoor season. I want to share with you a few maintenance tips for Shibuya products over the coming weeks. And today we're going to be starting out with how to do maintenance on an ULTIMA RC, RC2 or RC Pro site. So I'm going to show you how to clean the click balls. The click balls are something that I get asked about at competitions a lot, where I have interactions with end users. Over time, they can get a little dust in them, they can get a little dirty, and the movement of the click mechanism can get a little mushy or lose some of its edge. Today I'm going to show you how to fix that and how to get your site running like the day you bought it again. So I hope this will be informative for you. Make sure to let me know in the comments, both on Facebook or on YouTube, if you're looking for instructions on any specific procedure for maintenance or for repairs, or if you have any ideas on contents you would like to see from us. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and let's get through this together and stay positive. First of all, it pays to have a soft and durable substance underneath. I have this foam mat here that works very well because it does protect your gear from scratching, but also if you drop something on that, it's less likely to bounce away and fall to the floor and you have to search for little bits. So it's always good to have some kind of work surface like this. A plastic cutting mat or something like that will work just as well. So the tools we're going to use are, first off, the Allen wrenches that come with your sight. So these are metric wrenches. Make sure to not use imperial wrenches on these. We're going to use a screwdriver. This is just a flathead screwdriver. A small one will work best for this. And then we're going to use some Q-tips. These are all the tools that we're going to need for this maintenance procedure. So this is a brand new ULTIMA RC Pro site, but the procedure that I'm going to show you is exactly the same on the RC2 and even the RC sites. So we're going to take off the windage block from the site and we're going to set that aside for now. Because we're going to do the elevation dial first. So what you're going to do with the elevation dial is turn it until you find a little set screw. That's a 3x3 millimeter set screw that's in there, and that is what is holding the dial onto the elevation drive shaft. So we're going to use the 1.5 millimeter wrench right now to loosen this screw, and just one turn is enough. So you don't need to remove the screw, just loosen it up. And then on the bottom you have this little disc on the bottom that has a cutout slit, and this will fit a standard screwdriver. So you just need to hold this in place on the bottom by inserting a screwdriver or something similar. So then we're going to twist the dial and you will feel that it's turning on, although the drive shaft and the cap on the bottom are still held in place. And then you will see it will stop clicking at some point and it'll just come off like this. And then you can see the click ball on top, and then what's actually producing this click is this ball that's resting on a spring, and the dial, which has radial cutouts like this. So there are several reasons for your clicks becoming mushy or the click becoming a little tighter. So one is you might have a little dirt built up in the hole for the spring and the ball. That is easy to fix because you can just take out the ball and clean underneath. Or the ball itself might have become deformed a little bit. In that case, you can either simply turn it over because the other side will not have deformed as much, or you can replace it. All the parts for our sites are available from any of our distributors. You can find a list of our distributors on our website, and your local archery shop can order from their regular distributor any part for these sites. So now that we have removed the ball, you can see there's a little spring underneath here, and I will just take the 1.5 millimeter wrench and just take that spring out. So now that you have emptied that hole up here, it pays to have a Q-tip ready. Just push that in there and clean it out. Obviously the site is new, so it's not dirty yet. But if you've been shooting in any rain, in any dusty conditions, there's a good chance that you will have some dirt build up in this hole, which might obstruct the movement of the spring as well as the ball, and that will produce mushier clicks. So that definitely helps if you clean that out every once in a while, and this is how to do it. Once you have cleaned out that hole, it's time to put it back together. So put back in the spring. These almost never go bad, so you can just use the spring that came with it. Then replace the ball, put it back in the hole, and then we're going to screw that dial back on. So at the beginning, I would just hold it back down to the work surface, and that will provide enough friction for the dial to go on the drive shaft and not spin the drive shaft in the process. And then after a while, it will start spinning that drive shaft. So you're going to have to get out your trusty screwdriver again. And the easiest way is to just lock it down until it stops spinning, and then actually go back for about 4 clicks. And then you will notice that it will have very clean clicks again. And an easy way to tell if you've gone too far is just push down on the dial, and if you can feel it moving the drive shaft, then you have gone back too many clicks. So lock it down in another click or two. All right, so that is the procedure for the elevation. So we're going to move on to the windage style right now. And that is a slightly more difficult procedure. So we're going to put the elevation away. And then we're going to take out the windage block. As I said, this is a brand new ULTIMA RC Pro, but the actual windage style is the same as on the RC2. So any part of this process will be the same as on the RC2, and the windage dial looks a little different on the original RC, but the way that it's fixed is the same. So you will be able to apply this procedure to original ULTIMA RC sites as well. So as you can see, there are no set screws like there were on the elevation bar. This dial is instead held in place with a C-ring right here. And you need to remove the C-ring in order to remove the dial. So the first thing we're going to do is take out the side pin. Apologies for the squeaking. And this is obviously the side pin that comes with the ULTIMA sights. This is very popular for a lot of archers, but it's compatible with any side pin that has an 832 thread. So we're going to put that aside. And then we're going to slide over the windage slider to the opposite side. Disengaging the side pin will also disengage the knob, so just take that out and store it somewhere where it's safe. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our little screwdriver again and place it against the gap in the C-ring, and then we're going to move the windage dial in a way that it presses the entrance of the C-ring against that screwdriver, and just keep going. And you can see how this actually disengaged the C-ring right now. Again, make sure not to lose the C-ring. This has a tendency to just jump out because there's pressure on it once you remove it. So make sure not to lose that, and we'll put that in our little dish again. And then that actually already disengages the dial. So once you take off the dial, this might actually already have come off because there's pressure on it. But if it hasn't, make sure not to lose the ball again when you take out the windage dial. So this has a very similar construction to the elevation dial, but it's not threaded. So it's just pushed in there and held in place by that C-ring. Disengaging that will also free the click ball. So that's the same part as on the elevation. And again, make sure not to lose that. And then again, there's a little spring in there that we will be able to easily remove with the provided 1.5 millimeter wrench. Again, with the spring, that usually doesn't deform as much, so you can just use the same spring as you have used before and just put it back in the hole. And then the ball, either get a replacement part from your dealer or use the same part that you have taken out. So I'm going to put that back in here, and then the dial goes back in. And once that dial is in here, it will hold the ball in place. And you will need to apply some pressure on there. If you have a C-ring tool, that makes it much easier. If you don't, a little set of pliers like this multi-tool makes it possible. So I'm gonna use that little multi-tool, and then going to set down the C-ring right at that groove. So I hope you can see that. Push that C-ring back in with that same screwdriver, and then you will hear a click once it rests inside the groove. And when you turn it, you will notice that it's uniformly clipped on there and it doesn't stick out to any side. So what we're going to do next is replace the side pin locker, and then we're going to thread the side pin through there. And through the dial. And then lock it, and voila! That is your newly overhauled windage block. So the clicks are back to normal, and you can replace it on your sidebar and use it, and that's just good as new. So that's it for today's video about tuning your ULTIMA RC2 and RC Pro sights. Make sure to tune in again. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon. Stay safe.